Alright, I haven't seen as much of this Tori Vega is a bad character sentiment lately, but I remember when the show came to Netflix a few years ago and it was all the rage. In the show's original airing, I actually liked Tori, and so did the people in my circle, so it was shocking to see the extreme dislike for Tori because to me, she had always been a solid character and sang some banger songs. Like, she's amazing. So no, Tori Vega wasn't really that bad. So today, I'm going to be going over some common points used to say that Tori is a bad character and either debunk them or actually agree when needed, because there are some valid criticisms of her character for sure. I made a video on this before, like 4 years ago, but it was more from an emotional standpoint, and it was basically saying don't hate Tori because I like Tori. This time, it's not going to be that obsessive, that sad, and I'm actually going to use confirmed facts when debunking some of these narratives. So yeah, it's time to get in here. Tori was a perfect character. This is referring to the opinion that Tori never makes mistakes, everything goes Tori's way, and she gets stuff handed to her, and she never receives consequences for anything. I'm all for opinions, but they have to be backed up by facts, and this just isn't true at all. There were plenty of times when Tori wasn't shown to be a perfect princess, and she received consequences even for things that were out of her control. I'll point out a few instances. Looking at the first episode, she received very harsh bullying and embarrassment from Jade just for trying to get some coffee off of Beck because she walked into him. In Beck's big break, Tori got Beck fired, so that gets rid of the narrative that she's perfect and never makes mistakes. But she ended up getting Beck his job back. In Kat's new boyfriend, Tori kissed Kat's boyfriend, also getting rid of the narrative that she never makes mistakes. I can't say that the exact same people say this because I don't know about that, but it makes no sense to complain about Tori being perfect and never making mistakes, then get mad at Tori for kissing Kat's boyfriend and use that to call her a bad character. That's so contradictory. Also, Tori made up for this by letting Kat punch her in the face, so she didn't get off scot-free for this like a perfect person would. In Rex Dies, she accidentally ended Rex, another mistake, but at the end of the episode, she revived him. In The Wood, Jade and Tori got punished for destroying Festus's car, and Tori gets stuck. Jade sabotaged Tori's role in Steamboat Susie, and she had to get replaced by Psychowitz. This is way more indefensible than the following controversial episode when Tori scheduled her prom on the same day as Jade's performance, and she got mad and started sabotaging. It's not justified at all, but it's way more justified than Jade's role in Tori Gets Stuck. Okay, so Tori got to have her prom over Jade's performance, but that doesn't make her perfect. I actually blame that situation on Jade and or Psychowitz. Psychowitz let Tori schedule her prom, so if Jade already scheduled that day, then it's Psychowitz's fault for letting Tori schedule her prom. And if Jade didn't schedule her performance, then she didn't schedule it. It's her fault. You snooze, you lose. Early bird gets the worm. Jade had a flyer for her performance, but she never said when her performance was going to be, so the only way Tori would know about it is if she were psychic, which clearly wasn't the case. Also, it's a good thing that Tori didn't cancel her prom because of Jade's shenanigans in the previous episode, and for the whole series. And Tori got Jade funding for her play in season 1, Walkstar. Tori didn't owe Jade anything, so I can't really use the prom record situation against her. Moving over to the next most common point that gets used to say that Tori is perfect is that she got to perform at the Platinum Music Awards over Kat. It has a little bit of weight to it, like, yeah, gotta make sure the main character gets in, but I always believe that based on the events of that episode, that they were looking for a person that's talented, but they can also be controlled. Kat is dumb, but she's too dumb to the point where it would probably work against them. Like, I can't see them controlling someone like Kat the way that they controlled Tori, someone that's always looking to please people. So that reasoning made sense. Plus, I like Tori's audition more than Kat's anyways. It's reaching some, so I'm willing to be on the fence about that. Then for things that are definitely Tori being perfect or not receiving consequences, I only have 2 instances where it's like the main character has to be the main character. One of them was in the Beck Falls for Tori episode, where Beck performed the stunt, and it seemed like Tori got most of the credit because even though she went back to actually perform it, it wasn't for a scene. She was just there to perform the fall and get over her fear, which didn't even happen because Jade pushed her down. Then in the Hambone King episode, it was so unsatisfying to see Robbie train all episode just for Tori to win the showdown in the end. But those are the only times when Tori was perfect. For most of the show, she's shown to be a well-balanced character that makes mistakes but also makes up for them. The notion that Tori is a perfect character and everything goes her way just isn't backed up by facts, so that's what I have to say about that take. Tori got/stole too much spotlight. This is referring to the fact that Tori got the most singing opportunities in the show. Kind of like the Tori is perfect but she kissed Kat's boyfriend deal. I also find it funny how a common complaint is how Tori got too much spotlight and Andre, Jade, and Kat were robbed because they barely got to shine. But when making fun of Tori, it's always said that Jade, Kat, and Andre outshone her and basically took the spotlight off of her whenever Tori sang, and they carried the show. I just find those two narratives very hard to coexist. Like, if they outshone her at every moment and they carried the show, then there should be no problem with the amount of spotlight that Tori got because it clearly wasn't enough and the others carried, not her. Anyways, I'll get to the main point of Tori getting too much spotlight in a second, but this is completely different and more valid than saying Tori got too many solos. I went to the Victorious Wikipedia page and counted every song that was featured in the show, which actually includes play songs like Trina singing Chicago and You're the Reason. And it has stuff like Run, Run, Run Away and In This Together from the Breakfast Bunch episode that were not performed by anyone on the cast, when I'm really just talking about performances from people on the cast, but I'll go over both. There were 51 songs featured in the show. Out of those 51 songs, only 9 of them were sung by just Tori in the show. There were album releases where the others' voices were lessened or cut out, but in the show, which is what this is about, Tori only sang 9 solos out of 51 songs, which is only about 17 to 18% of the songs. Cutting this down to what I consider to be the real songs, like serious performances that were performed by cast members, that cuts the list down to 30 songs. The 30 songs that I ranked in the song ranking video. Even with that, only 30% of the songs are Tori solos, which is more than anyone else can say for sure, but the way this talking point makes it sound like is that every single song she performed was a solo while the others got nothing, which just isn't true at all. For a show named Victorious, I could actually make the case that Tori didn't get enough solos and it should have been more like 50% Tori solos rather than 30% Tori solos, especially if they wanted this to compete or be somewhat of an answer to Hannah Montana, where Miley got to sing just about everything by herself with a few guest stars here and there, like a main character should. But anyways, that's debunked. Tori didn't get this overwhelming amount of solos, but she got to sing a lot. She got to take the lead in a lot of songs or sing in the background, like in Andre's big 3 songs, Song to You, 365 Days, and Countdown. With that, I can see where the criticism comes from for sure. Like, there's a lot of good voices on the show. Tori doesn't need a major role in every song. She could sing backup more or sometimes not even be in some songs. That's understandable, but I actually like Tori singing, so it didn't bother me. Also, I really doubt that would fly with the creators of this show and everyone involved. Like, it just wouldn't make sense to give her all of that money and have her as the star of the show just for the singing opportunities to be more balanced. If they made this show more about the group, then it would make more sense to give everyone else like 3 or 4 more individual performances, but it's mostly about Tori. So the way that this show was structured probably wouldn't allow for the others to get more opportunities. So that's also something that I think about when it comes to this point. So yeah, Tori gets the most opportunities, but it makes sense because the show is called Victorious and it's following her journey mainly. Also, I love her song, so this was never a huge deal. Tori is shown to be the most talented person despite not being the most talented. I would agree that Tori wasn't the most talented singer there because the show paralleled real life where Tori was a new student at a performing arts school, so she's not going to be the most talented person there. And in real life, Leon, Liz, and Ariana had Broadway experience while Victoria had none. So she wasn't the most talented singer there, but I can't remember a time when someone in the show literally said that Tori is the best singer or the most talented person at Hollywood Arts. Maybe it was implied sometimes based on the opportunities that she got, but going based on the concrete facts, no one ever said that Tori was the best singer at Hollywood Arts. The closest to this ever happening was when Sinjin roasted the group in the slap fight for caring too much about followers because they're the most talented students at Hollywood Arts, but that was directed at everyone, not just Tori. She got the most opportunities to sing, but that's because she's the main character and the show follows her life the most. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're showing her to be the most talented person there. I mean, if the show followed someone like Robbie and showed all of his successes while showing just a few successes from everyone else, then that could lead to thinking that Robbie is the most talented character just because of how the show would have been structured. Tori wasn't the most talented singer there, which would probably raise the question of why she was the lead. But the job was more acting than singing, and Victoria was just coming off of Zoe 101, and she was in an iCarly episode. So she was in-house and next in line for a show. So from that angle, it makes sense. Plus, they justified Tori not being the best singer and made it work by having her be a new student at Hollywood Arts. So it all makes sense. Tori is annoying. To me, Tori wasn't annoying in the first 2 seasons, but I noticed that in the 3rd season, she complained a lot more. It didn't bother me that much, but that's something that I noticed. But no, she wasn't annoying for most of the run. But something that I can say to meet halfway is that she definitely wasn't the most interesting or entertaining character. She was a normal and consistent character for most of the run, which was good because at least she didn't get derailed like Kat, but also because she was supposed to be normal and she's consistent with that, that just puts a cap on how entertaining she can be outside of song performances. There were very few times when Tori made me laugh, while characters like Andre, Trina, and Jade always made me laugh. So Tori is a boring character, and that comes with positives and negatives. But yeah, in the end, I don't believe that Tori Vega is a bad character at all. I see some of the valid criticisms of Tori, but those few instances don't ruin the entire Tori Vega experience for me. Also, while I agree that Kat, Jade, and Andre were better singers and it would have been nice to hear them sing more, that's not an excuse. That's not a reason to tear down every aspect of Tori's character just because that didn't necessarily happen. That's so disingenuous. Tori was a solid and mostly bearable character that had some of the best performances in the show, so I respect her for that. She's not one of the most memorable characters ever, but she's a solid character that was good enough to lead this show. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it. That's all for now.